Before you book your next cruise, or even think about stepping on the gangway, watch this. Because cruising isn't the same as it was a few years ago. The rules have changed, the prices have changed, and honestly, the things cruise lines don't tell you matter more than ever. If you're a first-time cruiser, this video will save you from the mistakes that catch people out every single day. And if you've cruised before, you're still not safe, because what used to be normal on board has been flipped upside down. Hidden fees, quiet rule changes, new cabin traps, surprise charges on your cruise card, and a few onboard secrets that might actually shock you. This is the ultimate cruiser's guide, the one video that covers everything. How to avoid the money traps, how to pick the right ship, what to do the second you step on board, and the things cruise lines really hope you never find out. So if you want a smoother, cheaper, easier cruise, without the stress, without the surprises, and without learning the hard way, you're in the right place. Let's start with the first thing every smart cruiser needs to know, and it's the one almost everyone gets wrong. Tip number 1, that $499 cruise isn't really $499, it's not even close. I still remember the first time I saw that price. A full 7-night cruise for just $499? It sounded too good to be true. And in some ways, it was. See, that headline price? It's a starting point. It's not the total. I once spoke with a couple who booked that exact deal. They were thrilled, until they got to the end of the cruise and realized their final bill was nearly $4,000. They weren't big drinkers, didn't go wild shopping, and hadn't upgraded to a suite. They just didn't know what they didn't know. They didn't know that the price shown online doesn't include taxes and port fees. They didn't realize the price was per person and always based on 2 people sharing the cabin. They didn't factor in daily gratuities, Wi-Fi, drinks, or the cost of excursions. And they didn't realize how easy it is to spend money on board without even noticing, because everything gets charged to your cruise card until the very end. I call it the rule of 2.5. Whatever price you see when you book your cruise, double it, then add another half on top. That's usually the real number you'll end up paying. It doesn't mean cruising isn't a good value, it is. But going in blind? That's when things go off the rails. So if you're seeing those slick $399 or $499 deals floating around, just know, that's not your total, not even close. And trust me, it's a lot more fun to enjoy your cruise when you're not spending the last night staring at a bill you didn't expect. Tip number 2, motion sickness. What they don't tell you. This is the number 1 fear I hear from first-time cruisers. What if I get sick? What if I spend the whole cruise with my head in a toilet? Should I pack 10 boxes of seasickness pills or just cancel the trip altogether? Let me put your mind at ease. Modern cruise ships are massive. We're talking floating cities with stabilizers built into the hull that keep the ship surprisingly smooth. Most people don't feel a thing. Honestly, you're more likely to feel queasy on a fishing boat than a cruise liner. That said, there are moments when you might feel it. Usually, it's when the ship is sailing through open water on a windy night. Or maybe if you've booked a cabin right at the front or back, where the motion is strongest. Some people say they feel it more in the theater. Others swear it's worse during dinner, although that might just be nerves. But here's the thing, no one tells you. If you do feel a bit off, it usually passes quickly. Your body adjusts. Most people feel fine by the second day. Sometimes even within a few hours. I met one woman who was so terrified of seasickness, she packed every remedy under the sun. Patches, tablets, ginger chews, bracelets, you name it. She was fully prepared, and she never felt a single wobble. Meanwhile, her husband laughed it off, brought nothing, and ended up lying on the bed groaning through half the second day. That's just how it goes. If you're worried, come prepared, but don't let the fear ruin your excitement. Keep something in your bag just in case, but odds are, you won't need it. And if you do, the onboard shops usually stock the basics. Cruising is meant to be relaxing. You'll feel the gentle sway now and then, but that's part of the charm. It's not like the Titanic. It's more like rocking in a hammock, with an all-you-can-eat buffet 30 steps away. Tip number 3. Cabin damage can cost you thousands. When most people book a cruise, they're focused on the fun, the balcony views, the unlimited food, the ports of call. They're not thinking, how much would it cost me if I spilled red wine on the carpet? But maybe they should be. Here's the thing about cruise cabins. They're clean, compact, and usually pretty sturdy. But if you damage one, you could be looking at a massive charge on your final bill. I heard about a family, lovely people, cruising with their kids for the first time. On day 3, they left the balcony door open to enjoy the breeze while they had a little snack. Their 6-year-old accidentally knocked over a bright red fruit punch, which spilled all over the light-colored carpet. They did what any parent would do. Tried to clean it with towels, patted it dry, and figured housekeeping would handle the rest. Well, the cruise line handled it all right. They were charged $1,700 for professional carpet restoration. Apparently, fruit punch stains require a full replacement if they can't be cleaned, and the replacement had to match the entire corridor. And that's not even the worst story I've heard. There was another passenger who packed duct tape for their luggage and for some reason decided to stick it to the wall above the bed to hang up a paper cruise itinerary. When they peeled it off at the end of the trip, it took the paint and part of the wall surface with it. $850 in damage fees. For one strip of duct tape. Most cruise lines don't mess around when it comes to cabin upkeep. These ships are booked solid week after week. They can't afford downtime for repairs. So if something gets stained, scratched, or ruined on your watch, it's coming out of your wallet. Here's the best advice I can give. Be careful with drinks in the room. Don't bring messy snacks or markers if you're traveling with kids. And never, ever stick anything to the walls. Also, if something does happen, tell your cabin steward early. If you try to hide it or pretend it didn't happen, that's when they get less forgiving. I'm not saying you have to treat your room like a museum, but if you wouldn't do it in a hotel or in someone else's guest room, don't do it in your cabin. Trust me, it's a lot more relaxing to leave the ship with good memories. Not a surprise charge on your credit card. Tip number 4. Don't pick the wrong cruise line or ship. This is one of those tips I didn't understand until I cruised a few times, and by then, I'd already gotten it wrong. Because here's the truth. Not every cruise is created equal. I once met a couple who had booked what they thought was a quiet, romantic anniversary trip. They didn't research the cruise line, didn't look into the ship, just saw a good deal and jumped on it. Turns out, they had unknowingly boarded a 3-night sailing out of Miami during spring break. By the second day, they'd been caught in 3 pool deck dance contests, 1 conga line, and a nightclub foam party. At breakfast, they asked their waiter, "Is it always this loud?" He just smiled and said, "Welcome to Carnival." Don't get me wrong, that's not a bad thing. Carnival's known for being fun, affordable, and energetic. It's a great choice for families, groups, or anyone who loves a party. But if you were hoping for wine tastings and jazz music, you're going to be in for a shock. Each cruise line has its own personality. Some are all about adventure and activities. Some focus on food and relaxation. Others are more upscale or geared toward adults only. Even within the same line, ships can feel completely different. A newer ship might have skydiving simulators, robot bartenders, and roller coasters. An older one? Maybe a piano bar and some shuffleboard. There's nothing wrong with either, but you've got to know what you want. Here's the best way to figure it out. Go to the cruise line's website and look at the pictures. Pay attention to who's in them. If everyone looks like a 20-something in a bikini holding a cocktail, that's who the cruise is designed for. If it's couples enjoying spa treatments and sunset views, you're probably in for a calmer, more relaxed trip. I always tell people, the right cruise can feel like a dream vacation. The wrong one? Like you accidentally crashed someone else's party. So do a little homework before you book. Because your experience on board has a lot more to do with the ship than the itinerary. And if you get it right, you'll never want to vacation any other way again. Tip number 5. Wi-Fi isn't what it used to be. Ask anyone who cruised 5 or 10 years ago about cruise ship Wi-Fi, and they'll probably groan, roll their eyes, and say something like, "Yeah, good luck with that." And they're not wrong. Back in the day, cruise internet was, well, tragic. We're talking dial-up vibes at satellite prices. You'd pay $20 a day just to check your email, and even that was a gamble. But here's the good news. Things have changed, kind of. A lot of cruise lines now use satellite systems like Starlink, and the difference is honestly impressive, in most cases. You can scroll social media, message friends, even stream video on some ships. Now, notice I said some, because not every cruise line or ship is caught up with the times. I've been on newer ships where the Wi-Fi was fast enough to upload YouTube videos, and I've also been on upgraded ships where it took 20 minutes just to open Google. The trick? You've got to know what you're buying. There was this poor guy on our last sailing who booked the basic internet package thinking he'd be able to zoom into a meeting. He didn't read the fine print. That package only allowed messaging and browsing. He tried to hop on his call from his balcony, looking all professional in a button-up shirt, with board shorts. It froze 5 seconds in. By the time the screen unfroze, he had spilled his coffee, screamed at the seagulls, and said a few choice words that, let's just say, weren't exactly corporate-friendly, not realizing his mic hadn't been muted the whole time. So yeah, read the details before you buy an internet plan. And here's a little insider trick. If you're planning to use Wi-Fi on your cruise, buy it before you board. Most cruise lines offer a discount if you pre-purchase online. It's not massive, but hey, savings are savings. Another thing people forget, internet on sea days is usually slower. Why? Because everyone's on board trying to connect at the same time. So if you need to send photos or videos, try doing it first thing in the morning or late at night when everyone else is sleeping, or dancing in the nightclub. Oh, and don't forget to turn off automatic updates on your phone and apps. You don't want your phone eating up all your data in the background, downloading the latest Candy Crush levels while you're just trying to message your mum. So yes, cruise ship Wi-Fi has come a long way, but it's still not perfect. And if your vacation plan includes TikToking every mojito or streaming Netflix while sunbathing, just make sure you pick a ship that can actually handle it. Or your cruise memories might include more buffering than beaches. Tip number 6. Boarding time mistakes can get you denied. Let me tell you a little story that still gives me secondhand stress. I once watched a guy, maybe mid-30s, looked like he ran straight from the airport, sprinting up to the terminal dragging his suitcase, sweat pouring down his face. He waved his cruise documents in the air, trying to catch his breath, yelling, "Wait, I'm here!" But it was too late. The doors were closed. The agents had left the desks, and the ship was finalizing check-in. He had shown up 45 minutes before sail away. Not check-in, sail away. He missed his cruise, and let's just say the next few days of his holiday were going to look a lot different than he'd planned. Now here's the thing. Your cruise documents will tell you what time the ship is sailing, but that is not the time you should arrive. Most cruise lines require passengers to check in at least 90 minutes to 2 hours before the scheduled sail-away time, and they mean it. They close the boarding process early so they can finalize the passenger manifest, do head counts, handle security, and prepare to sail. Once those systems are locked in, they're locked in. There's no begging your way on board, even if you're holding a fully paid ticket and your cabin is waiting. And no, they're not going to refund you. What's wild is how many people don't know this. I met a couple who thought, well, the ship doesn't leave until 5, so we'll grab a late lunch, do some shopping, maybe a massage. They rocked up around 4:15 with fresh smoothies in hand and got the surprise of their lives. But here's what's even sneakier. Some ships assign you a boarding time window, and that's different again from the final check-in cutoff. Your assigned boarding time helps space passengers out so things don't turn into a giant mob scene. If you show up too early, you might have to wait outside the terminal. If you show up too late, you might not get on at all. So what's the move? Arrive at the start of your assigned check-in window and aim to be at the port a solid 3 hours before sail away, just to be safe, especially if you're flying in or driving a long distance. Because trust me, it's way better to be sipping a cocktail on the Lido deck wondering when they're going to start the safety drill than standing outside a locked terminal holding your passport, wondering if you can Uber to the next port. Tip number 7. Your cabin bathroom will surprise you. Let's talk bathrooms. Now I know, it's not the most glamorous part of your cruise, but trust me, you're going to want to know this before you step foot in your cabin. Cruise ship bathrooms are functional. They get the job done, but they are nothing like hotel bathrooms. The first thing you'll notice? They're small. I mean, really small. You open the door, take one step, and you've already hit the wall. And if you're traveling with your partner and you both try to get ready at the same time, good luck. You're doing a slow dance around each other trying not to elbow anyone in the ribs. But the real star of the show, the one thing every first-timer talks about, is the toilet. It's not your average household flush. It's not even what you'd find in a plane. It's more like a miniature vacuum engine hiding in your bathroom wall. You press the button and whoomp! It sounds like the ship just launched a missile. It's loud, it's dramatic, and it will scare you the first time. I once talked to this guy who said he literally jumped the first time he flushed. He thought something broke. His wife thought it was part of the emergency alarm. They called guest services to ask if they did something wrong. Nope, just a normal flush. And don't even think about flushing anything other than what's supposed to go in there. Not tissues, not wipes, not makeup pads. The plumbing on cruise ships is very sensitive, and the last thing you want is to be that person who clogs the entire hallway's sewage system. It happens more often than you think. One poor woman flushed a cotton ball and ended up getting a visit from engineering. They had to take the panel off the wall. It was a whole thing. Now the shower? It's like washing yourself inside a phone booth. It usually has a curtain, not a door, and that curtain will absolutely try to cling to you like it's been abandoned at sea. There's no escape. You move one way, it follows. Turn around, and it's somehow wrapped around your leg. Some cruisers even pack shower curtain clips just to keep it from attacking them. But here's the good news. They're clean, they're well maintained, and the water pressure is usually decent. You'll adjust quickly. But just don't expect luxury spa vibes. Expect efficient, with sound effects. And hey, by the end of the week, that terrifying toilet flush becomes weirdly satisfying. Tip number 8. Your cruise card is your wallet now. If you're used to traveling with your wallet or handbag everywhere, this part of cruising might feel a little weird at first. Because once you step on board, your cruise card becomes everything. It's your room key. It's your credit card. It's your ID to get on and off the ship. It's what you show at restaurants, bars, casinos, even when you pick up towels by the pool. Forget it in your room? You're in for a long walk back. And here's where things get interesting. Because since everything is charged to that little card, it's dangerously easy to lose track of what you're spending. You don't see receipts piling up or cash leaving your hand, just a tap here for a drink, a swipe there at the gift shop, and maybe a cheeky flutter at the casino. I once met a guy who didn't realize the arcade charged to the cruise card. He let his 10-year-old loose with it one afternoon. 2 hours and 9,000 claw machine attempts later, they had racked up over $300 trying to win a stuffed avocado. They didn't even get the avocado. So yes, the card is convenient, but don't treat it like it's free money. You'll get the full bill on your last night, and if you're not paying attention, surprise! These days, some cruise lines are replacing cards with medallions or wristbands. Princess has these smart medallions that let your room unlock as you approach. Virgin Voyages gives you a sleek bracelet that does it all. Either way, you'll still want to keep it on you, and keep it safe. Now, here's a tip that might save you stress. Bring a lanyard or card holder that you can wear around your neck or clip to your bag. Some even come with waterproof cases for port days. It's much better than fishing through your pockets every 5 minutes. And whatever you do, don't lose your card. If you do, head straight to guest services. They can replace it, but you'll want to cancel the old one fast in case someone else picks it up. Because whether you're buying a drink, signing up for an excursion, or just trying to get back to your cabin after dancing all night, that little plastic card is your cruise life. Tip number 9. Most drinks aren't included, and that can sting. You've probably heard that food is included on a cruise, and that part is true. You can eat until your stretchy pants plead for mercy. But drinks, that's where things get sneaky. And I don't just mean cocktails. I mean soft drinks, bottled water, specialty coffees, even some juices. All of those? Not included on most mainstream cruise lines. I once met this lovely older couple, first-time cruisers, so sweet. And they had no idea. They just assumed everything was included. On the first day, they were ordering bottled water at the bar, grabbing sodas at lunch, and racking up specialty lattes from the cafe. By the end of day 3, they got their running balance printed out and nearly fainted. "Who drank 12 Sprites?" the husband asked. Turns out, he did. On most ships, you'll get free basic coffee, tea, tap water, and sometimes lemonade or iced tea in the buffet. But anything beyond that? It's going to show up on your bill. Which brings us to drink packages. These sound amazing, right? Pay a set fee, drink whatever you want, unlimited piña coladas? Count me in. Well, hold on a second. Drink packages come with strings. Some cruise lines require everyone in your cabin to buy the package if one person does. So if you want it but your partner doesn't drink, tough luck, you're both paying. And they're not cheap. It's not unusual to see packages running $70 to $100 per person per day. To break even, most passengers need to drink 6 to 10 alcoholic drinks a day. Some do. No judgment. But a lot don't, especially on port-heavy cruises when you're off the ship most of the day. I talked to one guy who thought he was outsmarting the system. He loaded up at breakfast with 4 mimosas, 2 Bloody Marys, and a double espresso martini, all before 11 a.m. Let's just say, he didn't make it to lunch. Or remember most of Jamaica. Here's my honest advice. If you drink moderately, skip the full package. You can always buy drinks a la carte, and most cruise lines let you bring on a bottle or 2 of wine on embarkation day. And whatever you do, check your receipt before you tip. Most drinks already have an automatic gratuity added. I've seen people accidentally double tip without realizing it until they saw the final bill. So yeah, drinks can definitely sting. But knowing this now means you can plan, save, and still sip something fancy by the pool, without needing a second mortgage by the time you get home. Tip number 10. Elevator drama and stair hacks. Here's something you'll learn quickly once you board. Cruise ship elevators have 2 speeds. Slow, and why is this not moving? Especially on embarkation day, disembarkation day, and right after dinner, you'll wait. And wait. And wait. It's not that there aren't enough elevators, it's that everyone's trying to use them at once, and there are a lot of decks, and most people are in vacation mode, so they're not exactly quick about it. I once saw a kid hit every single button on the way down from deck 14. His mom was mortified. The rest of us? Stuck in what felt like an elevator version of a city bus route. We hit every floor. Twice. But there are a couple of tricks to beating elevator madness and saving your sanity. First, avoid the midship elevators if you can. They're always the busiest because they're closest to the action, the atrium, the main dining rooms, the shows. Instead, head toward the aft, back, or forward, front elevators. They're usually much quieter, and you'll get where you're going faster. Second, if you're only going up or down a couple of decks, take the stairs. Trust me, it's usually faster, and you'll feel a tiny bit better about hitting the buffet 3 times a day. And if you're on a ship with 15 plus decks, and your cabin's on deck 6, think of it as built-in cardio. Now, disembarkation morning. That's when things get truly wild. Everyone's trying to get off the ship at the same time, with suitcases. Elevators get packed. People get cranky. It's chaos. I saw this poor woman with 2 huge bags and a toddler in a stroller trying to get from deck 9 to the gangway on deck 3. The elevators were full every time they opened. She ended up carrying her stroller and luggage down 6 flights, in heels. Don't be that lady. If you can manage your luggage, consider walking it off early. If not, just be patient, or enjoy one last coffee while the rush clears out. And a quick etiquette note. Always let people exit before you enter. It sounds obvious, but you'd be shocked how many people try to muscle their way on without letting others off first. It's not a race, unless you're late for trivia, in which case, fair enough. Bottom line? The stairs are your friend. The side elevators are a secret weapon. And avoiding peak elevator traffic might just save your mood and your knees. Tip number 11. Luggage. Bring it all. But should you? Here's one of the best things about cruising compared to flying. There are no luggage fees. You can bring 2 bags, 5 bags, your grandma's steamer trunk, and no one at the cruise terminal is going to weigh it or slap on a penalty fee. But just because you can bring it all doesn't mean you should. I once met a solo traveler who brought 3 full-size suitcases, a carry-on, and a garment bag for a 5-day cruise. She told me, "Well, I didn't want to decide outfits at home, so I brought options." Fair enough. But then came disembarkation morning. The elevators were jammed. She tried to carry it all down 5 decks using the stairs. By deck 2, she'd lost a sandal, nearly took out a guy in front of her, and had one bag literally roll itself into a corner and give up. So yes, overpacking is a very real thing. Here's the thing most people don't think about. Your cabin is not a walk-in closet. You have limited space, and that includes your luggage. Thankfully, most beds are designed with storage underneath. You can slide your suitcases right under there and keep the room from feeling like a storage unit. But still, pack smart. Think mix and match outfits, re-wearing basics, and packing cubes if you're into that sort of thing. And plan for your embarkation and disembarkation days. When you board, your main luggage might not arrive at your cabin until late afternoon or evening. So keep a carry-on bag with essentials, medication, chargers, documents, maybe a change of clothes or swimwear if you want to hit the pool early. And on the way off, you've got 2 choices. Self-disembarkation, where you carry your own luggage off the ship, or assisted disembarkation, where you leave your bags outside your door the night before and they're delivered to the terminal for you. Self-disembarkation sounds tempting until you're hauling a 23-kilogram suitcase down a staircase in flip-flops while trying not to spill your travel coffee mug. So yes, bring what you need. But remember, there's laundry on board, there's storage under the bed, and no one cares if you wear the same dinner shirt twice, except maybe the guy in the photography section who'll catch it in your pictures. So rotate wisely. Tip number 12. Formal night isn't that formal. When I booked my first cruise, I'll be honest, I had no idea what formal night actually meant. I pictured tuxedos, gowns, fancy ballroom music. I imagined myself in a rented James Bond suit, holding a martini while whispering, "shaken, not stirred," to the bartender. Spoiler alert, that's not what happened. On most mainstream cruise lines like Royal Caribbean, Carnival, Norwegian, formal night is more like, "please don't wear your gym clothes" night. Sure, some people go all out. I've seen couples dressed to the nines, matching black tie outfits, heels that could double as weapons, and sequins that sparkle like a disco ball under the dining room lights. And hey, if that's your vibe, go for it. You'll look amazing in your photos. But if you're not into that, you'll still fit in just fine. For guys, a collared shirt and slacks is more than enough. A blazer if you want to look sharp. Ladies, a nice dress, jumpsuit, or even a dressy blouse and pants. It's basically like dressing for a nice dinner out, not the Oscars. Now, things you shouldn't wear? Baseball caps, flip-flops, ripped jeans, swimwear. Yes, someone always shows up in one of those. No, they're not turned away, but they do get that look from every table they pass. There's also something oddly charming about how many couples use formal night as date night. You'll see people holding hands, toasting over lobster tails, and posing for those cheesy but awesome cruise portraits in front of backdrops with waves or staircases or sparkly curtains. I remember talking to a couple who had been cruising together for over 20 years. They said they always bring one formal outfit each, same ones every time. And every cruise, they take a photo in the same pose. They had a full wall of them at home, one from every ship. Same pose, same outfit, just a little older and a little happier in each one. So no, formal night isn't scary. It's fun, it's optional. And it's a great excuse to look nice, take a few photos, and enjoy a meal that feels just a little more special. Unless you're the guy who thought formal meant wearing his tuxedo t-shirt, bold move, honestly, respect. Hey, before we get to the last two, I just want to say thank you. Seriously, if you've made it this far into the video, it means a lot. I know there are so many cruise videos out there, and the fact that you're still here, watching this one, it really does mean the world to me. If you've learned something new today, or if this video helped you feel a little more confident about your upcoming cruise, I'd be so grateful if you gave it a like. And if you haven't already, I'd love to have you subscribe. It helps this little channel reach more people, and it keeps me going so I can keep making videos like this for you. And here's a fun little thing. If you made it all the way to this part of the video, drop the words "cruise for you" in the comments. That way, I'll know you were one of the legends who stuck around, and I'll personally come thank you in the replies. All right, deep breath. We've saved two of the most important ones for last. Tip number 13. If you miss the ship, it's game over. This one's a little dramatic, but for good reason, because unlike a bus or a train or even a flight, your cruise ship will not wait for you. The schedule is tight, the port authorities run on the minute, and once that all-aboard time hits, the gangway is up and the ship is gone. And yes, it happens to people all the time. I once watched it play out right in front of me. We were docked in Cozumel, the sun was setting, and the horn had already blown. Everyone was leaning over the railings, drinks in hand, watching the last few passengers hustle back. And then we saw them. Two people sprinting down the pier, bags flapping, waving their arms in the air. Too late. The security team was already pulling the bridge in. They stopped at the edge, totally out of breath, eyes wide as the ship slowly drifted away. Everyone on deck? Cheering. Some people clapped. One guy yelled, "You had one job." It was funny and brutal. Turns out they got distracted at a tequila tasting downtown and lost track of time. They had to book a hotel that night, then buy emergency flights to try and catch up with the ship at the next port. That little detour cost them over $700. And trust me, cruise lines aren't obligated to help you in that situation. If you're late, you're on your own. They'll hold your passport at the port office, but they won't hold the ship. So how do you avoid becoming a pier runner? It's simple. Get back early. If your all-aboard time is 4:30, plan to be back by 3:30. Port clocks and ship clocks don't always sync, especially if your phone updates automatically. I've seen phones switch to local time and confuse passengers completely. One smart traveler told me he always wears a simple analog watch on cruises. No time zone shifts, no digital drama. Just ship time. Every time. Because once those engines fire up, there's no begging your way back on board. You'll be waving from the dock, with a front row seat to the cruise you just missed. Tip number 14. Why you'll keep cruising, even if you thought you'd hate it. Let's end on something honest. I wasn't sure I'd love cruising when I first tried it. I thought it was for retirees, or families, or people who like routines and group activities. I didn't think it was for someone like me, but that first trip, it completely changed my mind. There's something about being out on the open ocean, waking up in a new place every morning, meeting people from all walks of life, and doing it all at your own pace. You can be as active or as relaxed as you want. You can try something new every day, or do absolutely nothing at all. And there's a kind of magic in knowing that everything is taken care of: food, travel, entertainment, the works, so you can actually unplug for once. I met a grandma once who told me she was terrified of cruising. Her kids talked her into it. She cried the first night because she felt overwhelmed. By the end of the week, she was dancing on deck at the 80s party, drinking margaritas, and had already booked her next cruise before we even disembarked. That's the thing. Cruising sneaks up on you. You go in curious, maybe skeptical, and by the end, you're already planning the next one. So if you're about to cruise for the first time, or it's been a while, just know, you're about to join a club that you didn't even realize you wanted to be part of. And once you're in, you'll get it. So now you've got the basics sorted. How not to blow your budget, how to pick the right ship, what to expect with motion sickness, cabins, Wi-Fi, all of it. But if you really want to cruise like you've done this a dozen times, this is where it gets fun. In this next part, we're getting into the stuff cruise lines don't exactly shout about in their brochures. Little tricks, quiet perks, and behind-the-scenes secrets that experienced cruisers use all the time, while everyone else just walks straight past them. These are 16 hidden cruise tricks cruise lines are keeping quiet about on purpose. Some will save you money, some will save your sanity, and a few will honestly change the way you cruise forever. Let's start with the first one, and it's hiding in plain sight. Number 1. Art auctions aren't what they seem. You know those elegant art auctions on board with free champagne and a fast-talking host praising every piece as a rare investment opportunity? Well, here's the hidden truth. These auctions are almost always run by third-party companies, not the cruise lines themselves. And when things go wrong, the cruise line typically won't take responsibility. Many cruisers have found out the hard way that their limited edition artworks weren't so limited or valuable after all. Take the case of a woman who purchased a $3,800 print during her Caribbean cruise. When she returned home and had it appraised, a local gallery estimated its real value at less than $500. She tried to get her money back, but the auction company pointed to the fine print. The cruise line? Completely hands off. The pressure is part of the play. The free drinks, the countdown timers, the talk of appreciation and value. But seasoned cruisers say, if you see something you love, take a photo, wait until you're home, and compare prices online first. If it's still worth it, great. But don't get caught up in the theater. On a ship, even the art can be an illusion. Number 2. There's still a lot of ships that don't have man-overboard systems. This one's hard to believe, but it's true. Despite modern technology making automatic man-overboard detection possible, many cruise ships still don't have these systems installed. That means if someone falls or jumps overboard, the crew often won't know until it's far too late. Instead of high-tech sensors, they still rely on surveillance footage and eyewitness reports. But in reality, someone can go over the side without a single soul noticing for hours. And by then, the ship has traveled miles. Cruise lines say the systems are expensive or not fully reliable, but many safety experts disagree. It's a controversial topic in the industry. And sadly, there are real-life cases where people disappeared at sea, families left with no answers, no clear timeline, and no closure. If you're cruising with children, Elderly parents, or someone who wanders easily, take this as a gentle warning. Always be aware of your surroundings, especially at night or on decks without rail supervision. Because despite all the luxury and security, cruise ships still have blind spots. And this is one of the biggest. Number 3. You can ask for off-menu items. This one surprises a lot of first-time cruisers. Just because it's not printed on the menu doesn't mean it's not available. In fact, cruise ship kitchens are often more flexible than you'd think. Want a side of mashed potatoes even though it's not listed tonight? Craving plain grilled chicken or a bowl of rice? Just ask. Some frequent cruisers even swear by secret menu items, like ordering a cheese plate for dessert, a club sandwich at breakfast, or even a bowl of curry from the back kitchen if the ship serves Indian cuisine elsewhere on board. If you have dietary needs or just want something simple, don't be shy. Your server might give you a surprised smile, but as long as it's reasonable, the kitchen will usually do their best to accommodate. The trick is to be polite and ask early in the meal so they have time to prepare it. You might end up with something better than what's on the menu. Number 4. Jewelry and watch sales aren't run by the cruise line. That flashy onboard jewelry boutique might look like part of the cruise line, but it's usually operated by an entirely separate retail company. And if something goes wrong, like a broken clasp, a fake stone, or buyer's regret, you might find yourself in a frustrating game of finger-pointing. Take this real example. A cruiser bought a diamond ring during a 50% off promotion on board, only to discover later that the ring wasn't worth half what she paid. When she tried to get help from the cruise line, they told her it wasn't their responsibility. The retailer? Located overseas, with slow customer service and strict refund policies. These shops often use high-pressure sales tactics, time-limited deals, and promises of duty-free savings. But the truth is, you can often find better deals and better guarantees on land. If you're truly in love with something, take a photo, note the details, and compare prices at home before deciding. Because once you walk off that ship, getting your money back becomes a lot harder. Number 5. Cruise staff are trained to subtly influence spending. You might think you're in full control of your wallet on board, but behind the scenes, cruise lines have a master plan. Many staff members, from bartenders to boutique hosts, are trained with specific upsell scripts designed to gently guide you toward spending more. And it's not just what they say, it's how the ship smells. Ever noticed a spa-like scent wafting through the halls or a warm bakery aroma near the cafe? That's not accidental. It's called scent marketing, and it's proven to increase spending by triggering emotional and sensory responses. Even the music, lighting, and layout are curated to make you linger and spend. The whole ship is a floating psychology experiment, and most passengers don't even realize it. Number 6. You can ask for second meals in the dining room. Here's a secret that took me a few cruises to learn. You're not limited to just one meal in the main dining room. If you want 2 mains, 2 appetizers, or even 2 desserts, it's totally allowed. I'll never forget the morning I ordered 2 servings of Eggs Benedict, my favorite breakfast of all time, and the waiter didn't blink. He just smiled and brought them over, both perfectly runny, just the way I like them. No extra charge, no weird looks, just great service. And that's not just breakfast. At dinner, you can try the steak and the salmon if you can't decide. Dessert dilemma? Get the chocolate cake and the cheesecake. Cruise dining is designed to feel indulgent, and the staff truly want you to enjoy it. The only unspoken rule? Don't waste food, and be kind to your servers. A polite thank you goes a long way, and sometimes leads to little extras that aren't even on the menu. Cruise ships are one of the few places where asking for more isn't awkward. It's encouraged. Number 7. Cabin prices can drop after you book, but you have to ask. Here's a sneaky little secret cruise lines won't exactly advertise. If the price of your cabin goes down after you've booked, you might be eligible for a refund, an upgrade, or onboard credit. But only if you ask. Most cruise lines won't automatically notify you. That's why savvy cruisers keep an eye on prices right up until final payment, or even after, depending on the cruise line's policy. Some folks have gotten upgraded to balcony rooms just because they noticed a price drop and made a quick call. It doesn't take much effort. Set a price alert or just check the website occasionally. The worst they can say is no. But if they say yes, that's free perks in your pocket and a better cruise experience without spending an extra cent. Number 8. Crew-only areas sometimes double as guest shortcuts. This is one of those quiet little cruise perks that most passengers never realize exists. On some ships, Especially the larger or more luxurious ones, guests in suites or with VIP status are sometimes escorted through crew-only areas to skip long lines and crowds. We're talking about hidden hallways, service corridors, or unmarked stairwells that bypass the chaos during embarkation, disembarkation, or even shore excursion tendering. These routes aren't on any map, and staff won't offer them unless you're in the know or in the right cabin tier. It's like being whisked through the backstage of a show while everyone else waits out front. You feel like a total insider, and once you've experienced it, regular boarding lines just don't hit the same. Number 9. The Do Not Disturb sign can be a red flag. Believe it or not, keeping that little privacy tag on your cabin door too long can actually raise suspicions, especially on embarkation day. While most of us think Do Not Disturb means just that, cruise security sees it a little differently. Behind the scenes, there are quiet policies in place to make sure cabins remain safe and secure. If your sign stays up for hours without any sign of activity, the crew may be required to knock or even enter to check that everything's okay. It's rare, but it happens more than people realize. Too much privacy, especially on day one, can actually make you look like you're hiding something, even when you're not. So here's the takeaway. Use the D&D sign, sure, but don't overuse it. You'll draw less attention and avoid a surprise knock from security. Number 10. You can request a behind-the-scenes tour, even if it's not advertised. This is one of those insider tricks seasoned cruisers quietly pass along. Many ships offer a secret or limited access tour that takes you behind the scenes, to places like the bridge, crew kitchens, laundry facilities, or even the engine control room. But here's the catch. It's usually not listed in the daily planner or advertised openly. Instead, it's offered quietly, often to suite guests, loyalty members, or just those savvy enough to ask early. These tours are sometimes called crew access tours or backstage ship tours, and they give you a rare look at how the ship truly operates. Want in? Just go to guest services as early in the cruise as you can and politely ask if there are any crew area or backstage tours available. You might just land yourself a spot on one of the coolest, most exclusive experiences on board. Number 11. You can eat in the main dining room for lunch on embarkation day. Most first-time cruisers head straight to the buffet as soon as they get on board, and who can blame them? It's fast, easy, and right in front of you. But what many don't know is that the main dining room is usually open too, and it's the real hidden gem. It's calmer, way less crowded, and best of all, it's full service. No trays, no lines, no buffet chaos. Just a peaceful table, real menus, and often better quality food. You can sit down, relax, and let the cruise truly begin. It's the perfect welcome aboard experience, and barely anyone knows about it. So next time, skip the buffet madness. Head to the main dining room instead, and thank yourself later. Number 12. You can trade your cabin, even after boarding. Here's something most cruisers don't realize. If there's a serious problem with your cabin, like loud engine noise, strange smells, or even uncomfortable vibration, you're not necessarily stuck with it. Head straight to guest services as soon as you notice an issue. Don't wait. If the ship isn't fully booked, there's a chance they can quietly move you to a different cabin. It's not guaranteed, and they won't announce it to the crowd, but polite, early requests often get rewarded. Whether it's a quieter hallway or a better view, speaking up early could seriously upgrade your cruise. Just remember, you have to ask. Number 13. Shore excursions often cost double what locals charge. Cruise lines love to sell you on their shore excursions. They'll tell you it's the safest, most convenient option. And sure, booking through the cruise can offer peace of mind, but what they don't tell you is that many of those same tours are actually run by local companies, and if you book directly with them, you could pay half the price. In some cases, you'll even get a smaller group or a better experience. The trick? Do your research before your cruise. Check reviews, verify pickup details, and make sure the timing lines up with your port stop. Some cruisers even print a copy of their cruise schedule and email it to the tour operator for confirmation. And don't worry, many of these local companies have been working with cruise guests for years. They know you need to be back on time. So next time you're tempted to book that pricey ship tour, just know, you might be paying double for the exact same thing. Number 14. The front of the ship is often accessible, but unmarked. There's a part of the ship with some of the best views, and hardly anyone knows it's there. On many cruise ships, You'll find unmarked doors near the bow, usually around deck 5, 7, or 8. These doors sometimes lead to quiet outdoor viewing areas right at the front of the ship. They're not always labeled, they're not on the map, and you won't hear crew talking about them. But they exist. Seasoned cruisers say it's the perfect place to catch a sunrise, film your arrival into port, or just enjoy some peaceful ocean air without the crowds. So next time you're on board, go exploring. You might just find your new favorite hidden spot. Number 15. Laundry day specials are never advertised loudly. Did you know there's often a secret discount laundry deal on cruises? Most ships offer a one-day-only laundry bag special, where you can fill an entire bag with clothes for a flat, reduced price. It's usually about half of what you'd pay using the regular per-item laundry rates. The catch? It's almost never announced. You won't find it in the daily planner, and your cabin TV won't mention it either. The only way to know it's coming is to ask your room steward early in the cruise. If they know when it's scheduled, they'll usually give you a heads up so you can plan around it. It's one of the easiest ways to stay fresh on a longer cruise without blowing your budget on laundry fees. Before I get to the last and final one, if you've learned something new in this video, please take a second to like and subscribe. It really helps more than you know. And if you made it this far, you're officially a legend. Type cruise for you in the comments so I can personally thank you for watching and choosing my channel for your cruise tips and tricks. I'm always trying to pack in as much helpful info as possible because I know how much smoother and more enjoyable a cruise can be when you're prepared. Now, let's get to the final one. And it's one most people don't even realize is happening right under their nose. Number 16. Cabin air vents are often shared between rooms. Ever walked into your cabin and thought, what is that smell? Maybe it's garlic shrimp, heavy perfume, or something you'd rather not guess. But here's the secret most cruisers don't know. Your cabin vents might be connected to the room next door, or even a few doors down. That means the weird odor you're smelling might not be yours at all. It could be drifting through shared ventilation from another guest's dinner, laundry spray, or late-night snack run. And on rare occasions, if someone's smoking something they shouldn't or using heavy cologne, the smell can make its way to you. It's not your fault, and you're not imagining things. If this happens, go straight to guest services or call housekeeping. In some cases, if there's a known issue or a vacant cabin nearby, they might quietly offer to move you, especially if you ask early and politely. So next time your room smells off, don't assume it's your socks. It might just be your neighbor's midnight curry. So, now you know the hidden side of cruising, the quiet tricks, the money traps, the secret spots, and the little games cruise lines hope you never figure out. But here's the thing. None of that matters if your actual cabin experience is a mess. If your room is noisy, uncomfortable, badly set up, or you miss a simple fix on day one, you'll feel it for the entire cruise. That's why in this next part, we're going super practical. We're talking about exactly what you should do the moment you walk into your cabin. The checks, the setups, the small habits and smart moves that make your room cleaner, quieter, safer, and way more comfortable. Most cruisers skip half of these and only realize later what they should have done in the first 5 minutes. You won't be one of them. Let's dive into 21 things you must do in any cruise ship cabin on day one so you can set yourself up for the best possible cruise from the moment you open that door. You're here. You finally made it. You're stepping into your cruise cabin, ready to unpack, relax, and enjoy your vacation. But hold up. Before you do anything, there are some really important things you need to take care of first. These aren't just little nice-to-do things. Skipping these steps could actually make your trip less comfortable or even cause some serious regrets later on. Some of these might seem obvious, but I promise there are a few game changers in here that most people don't think about until it's too late. And trust me, you do not want to be the person stuck dealing with an issue that could have been fixed in the first 5 minutes of stepping into your cabin. Now, before I get into the first thing you need to do inside your cabin, I just want to quickly mention something that's actually important before you even get on the ship. Hopefully, you booked a good cabin location, because that matters a lot. If you haven't cruised before, or even if you have and never really thought about this, where your cabin is located can make or break your experience. Ideally, you want a cabin with rooms both above and below you, because if you're under the buffet or near a nightclub, you might regret it real fast. I learned this the hard way. One time, I figured, the buffet closes early, it won't be a big deal. Nope. I was so wrong. The buffet may have closed, but the crew was in there doing dishes and prepping food all night long. I could hear everything. If you ever end up in a cabin like that, just do yourself a favor and bring earplugs. Seriously, they're a lifesaver. All right, now that you're actually in your cabin, here's the first thing you need to do. Number 1, sanitize everything. Yes, even if it looks clean. I know, you're on vacation. The last thing you want to think about is germs. But let's be real. Hundreds, maybe thousands of people have stayed in this exact room before you. And while the housekeeping crew does their best, they don't have time to deep clean everything between guests. Before you touch too many surfaces, grab a pack of sanitizing wipes and do a quick wipe down of the important areas. Start with the light switches, then wipe down the door handles, bathroom knobs, and especially the TV remote. That remote is probably the dirtiest thing in the entire cabin because it rarely gets cleaned properly. Even if your room looks spotless, it's better to be safe than sorry. The last thing you want is to catch a cold, or worse, on day 1 of your cruise. Number 2, check the mattress. This one's really important. All right, I know this isn't the most fun thing to do when you first walk into your cabin, but just trust me on this one. Grab your phone flashlight and take a quick look at the corners of the mattress. Now, before you freak out, I'm not saying there's going to be a problem. Most cabins are totally fine. But bed bugs? They're sneaky little things, and they can show up anywhere. Hotels, Airbnbs, cruise ships, you name it. They don't discriminate. So take a second to check the edges and seams of the mattress. You're looking for small brown stains, tiny black dots, or any movement, because if you see little bugs crawling around, that's a huge red flag. If everything looks good, great. But if you see anything suspicious, do not put your luggage on the bed. Call guest services immediately. This is something you don't want to realize 3 days into your trip. Number 3, meet your cabin steward, your best friend for the week. Now that you've given your room a quick safety check, it's time to introduce yourself to your cabin steward. These are the people who are going to be taking care of your room every single day, sometimes even twice a day. Here's the thing. Cabin stewards are incredibly helpful, but most people never think to ask for the little extras that can make a big difference in their cruise. If you like sleeping with extra pillows, they can bring you more. If the mattress is too firm, they can add a mattress topper to make it softer. If you packed a lot of clothes and need more hangers, just ask. One thing a lot of people don't know is that some cruise lines can even provide things like a kettle or coffee maker, even if they don't advertise it. If you're someone who loves having a cup of tea or coffee in your room in the morning, ask your steward. They might be able to bring one. And if you like having ice-cold drinks, you can also ask them to keep your ice bucket refilled throughout the cruise. And here's a little insider tip. If you tip your steward a little something on day 1, you'll absolutely get even better service. You don't have to go crazy, but giving them $10 or $20 at the start of your cruise will make a difference. Your steward will remember you, and they'll probably go the extra mile to make sure your room is exactly how you like it for the entire trip. Number 4, check that everything works now, not later. Before you get too comfortable, take a couple of minutes to make sure everything in your room is working properly. You don't want to find out on night 3 that something's broken, because by then, it might be harder to get it fixed. Turn on the lights and make sure none of the bulbs are burned out. Grab the TV remote and check if it actually works or if the batteries are dead. If you have a balcony, test the door to see if you know how to lock and unlock it. Some of them have hidden knobs that aren't obvious. And trust me on this, flush the toilet and run the shower now before you actually need them. Check the shower pressure and make sure the water temperature adjusts properly. If something's off, report it to guest services right away, because it's a lot easier to get things fixed on day 1 than later in the cruise. And one more thing, check the in-room safe. Sometimes the last guest locks it and forgets to reset it, and then you can't use it. If it won't open, call guest services immediately so they can fix it for you. Number 5, unpack and store your suitcase the right way. One of the best things you can do for yourself is get fully unpacked as soon as you get into your room. Trust me, you don't want to be stepping over a half-open suitcase all week. The good news is that cruise ship cabins are designed to make the most of the small space. Most cruise ships actually have underbed storage, which is perfect for storing your suitcase once you're done unpacking. I've met so many first-time cruisers who didn't realize this until the last day and spent their entire trip with their suitcase taking up half their floor space. So, once you've unpacked, slide your suitcase under the bed. If, for some reason, your suitcase is too big and won't fit, don't panic. Your cabin steward can actually take it away and store it for you until the end of the cruise. You just have to ask. Number 6. The minibar and what you need to do with it. Next, head over to your minibar. Even if you don't plan on using it, you still need to check it. Some cruise lines will charge you automatically if something is missing, even if you never touched it. The first thing to do is see if the minibar is included in your drink package. If it is, great. You can help yourself. But if not, and you'd rather not be tempted to pay cruise ship prices for snacks and drinks, you have another option. Empty it. You can actually ask your cabin steward to clear out the minibar for you, which gives you space to store your own drinks, snacks, or even medicine that needs to be refrigerated. I do this on almost every cruise because I like having my own water, soda, and snacks handy without having to run out to a bar every time I want something. And here's a little tip. If you're planning to bring your own non-alcoholic drinks on board, check your cruise line's policy ahead of time. Some allow you to bring sealed cans of soda or bottles of water, while others don't. So, once you've unpacked, slide your suitcase under the bed. If, for some reason, your suitcase is too big and won't fit, don't panic. Your cabin steward can actually take it away and store it for you until the end of the cruise. You just have to ask. Number 7. Figure out how to contact your cabin steward. Now, this might sound like a small detail, but it's actually really important. Figure out how to contact your cabin steward if you need anything during the cruise. Different cruise lines have different systems. Some have a simple "Do Not Disturb" or "Make Up Room" sign you hang on the door, while newer ships have buttons or digital panels that let your steward know whether you're in the room or out exploring. Some cruise lines even provide a direct phone number for your steward, which is great if you ever need something quickly, like extra towels or a maintenance request. If you don't see a number listed in your cabin, ask them directly on day 1 so you don't have to go searching later. It's a small thing, but knowing how to reach your steward makes life a lot easier if you ever need assistance. Number 8. Set up your power outlets. Don't wait until you need them. One of the first things you should do after unpacking is figure out where all the power outlets are in your cabin. Because on some ships, they're not always where you expect them to be. Most cruise cabins have limited outlets, and depending on the ship, they might be a mix of American, European, and USB ports. If you brought a universal travel adapter, now's the time to plug it in so you have the right setup for charging your phone, camera, or other devices. And here's a tip that even experienced cruisers sometimes miss. Check the bedside lamps. Many newer cruise ships have USB charging ports hidden on the side or underneath the lamp, but they're not always easy to spot. If you're traveling with multiple people and you all have devices to charge, a small cruise-approved power strip can be a lifesaver. Just make sure it's non-surge protected because cruise ships ban regular power strips for safety reasons. The last thing you want is to be scrambling for outlets when your phone battery is at 2%, so take a minute now to set everything up. Number 9. Turn on the ship's webcam, your secret window to the outside. If you're staying in an inside cabin, meaning one without a window or balcony, here's a little trick to give yourself a view of the outside world. Most cruise ships have a channel on the TV that shows the ship's webcam, usually from the front of the ship. This lets you see what's going on outside, whether it's sunrise, sunset, or even bad weather rolling in. I always make sure to find this channel on day 1 so I can quickly flip to it whenever I want to see where we are. It's especially helpful if you're in an interior cabin and you wake up with no idea what time it is because there's no natural light. So, take a second, turn on the TV, and scroll through the channels until you find the live ship camera. It's a simple but really helpful little trick. Number 10. Take photos or a video of your cabin, just in case. This one might seem unnecessary, but trust me, take a quick video or a few photos of your cabin when you first arrive. The reason? If there are any stains on the carpet, marks on the walls, or anything that looks like damage, you'll have proof that it was there before you checked in. Most cruise lines are really good about this, but in rare cases, someone might get charged for damage they didn't do. A quick video on your phone showing how your room looked when you arrived can save you from any misunderstandings later. Plus, it's just fun to have a video of your cabin when it's clean and untouched. Because let's be real, once you unpack, it's never going to look that neat again. Number 11. Ask for any extra amenities you might want. Cruise lines have cut back on some of the things they automatically provide in cabins, but here's a little secret. Many of them are still available if you ask. For example, bathrobes and slippers used to be included in most cabins, but now they're often reserved for suites or loyalty members. That doesn't mean you can't get them. If you enjoy lounging around in a robe, just ask your cabin steward. More often than not, they'll bring one to your room. The same goes for extra pillows, additional towels, mattress toppers, or even items like shower caps and cotton swabs. Some cruise lines also provide small sewing kits or shoe-shining cloths upon request. If you like to have an ice bucket that's always full, this is the time to let your steward know. They'll usually be happy to refresh it for you each day, but unless you ask, it might not happen automatically. These little touches can make your cabin feel much more comfortable, so take a moment to think about anything you might want before you get too settled in. Number 12. Check for hidden storage spaces you might have missed. Cruise cabins are designed to maximize space, and you might be surprised at how many storage areas are built into the room. Some of the best places to check include under the bed. Most cabins have plenty of space under the bed for storing suitcases, bags, and even shoes. Inside the ottoman, some cabins have a seat or ottoman that lifts open to reveal extra storage inside. Behind the mirrors, many cabins have medicine cabinet-style mirrors in the bathroom where you can store toiletries. In the bedside tables, some have drawers or hidden shelves you might not notice at first. If you're traveling with a lot of stuff, finding these hidden spaces early on will help you keep your cabin neat and organized for the rest of the trip. Number 13. Download and set up the cruise line's app. Most major cruise lines now have an official app that makes navigating the ship and keeping track of events so much easier. If you haven't already, take a few minutes to download it and set it up. Depending on the cruise line, the app can allow you to check the daily schedule for activities and entertainment, make dining reservations for specialty restaurants, view your onboard account to keep track of any charges, chat with other guests in your travel group. Some cruise lines offer this for free, while others charge a small fee. Even if you prefer to disconnect on vacation, having quick access to the ship's schedule is really helpful, especially if you don't want to carry around a paper itinerary. Number 14. Find your muster station and watch the safety video. If you haven't done this yet, take a minute to find out where your muster station is and make sure you've completed the required safety briefing. Most cruise lines now let you watch the safety video from your cabin TV instead of attending a large in-person muster drill like in the past. But there's usually one final step. After watching the video, you might need to visit your muster station and check in with a crew member to confirm that you've completed the process. This is mandatory, and if you don't do it early, the cruise line will track you down and remind you to do it before the ship leaves port. So, just get it done now, so you don't have to worry about it later. Number 15. Familiarize yourself with your cabin's lights and thermostat. Every cruise ship has a slightly different lighting and temperature control system, and some of them aren't as intuitive as you might expect. Some ships use motion-activated lights that turn off automatically if you don't move for a while others have bedside control panels that let you adjust everything from the brightness of the room to the mood lighting. Take a minute to test the light switches and make sure you understand how they work, especially if you're traveling with kids or someone who might wake up in the middle of the night looking for the bathroom. For the thermostat, set it to a temperature that feels comfortable for you. Keep in mind that cruise ships don't allow windows to be opened in most cabins, so your air conditioning is the only way to control the temperature. Number 16. Check for any noise issues before it's too late. If your cabin is in a quiet location, great. But as mentioned earlier in the video, if you notice loud noises from above, below, or through the walls, this is your one chance to do something about it before it's too late. The absolute worst thing is realizing on night one that you're under a late-night venue, a noisy engine, or a high-traffic hallway. If you're hearing loud sounds early on, don't just assume it'll go away. Go to guest services as soon as possible and let them know. If the ship isn't fully booked, you might be able to switch cabins. But if you wait too long, you'll be stuck. Even if you can't move rooms, they may be able to offer you a white noise machine or extra soundproofing options to help. Number 17. Check your cabin for motion sickness remedies. If you're someone who gets motion sickness, this is a big one. Some cruise cabins actually come with motion sickness bags stored in the bathroom or bedside drawer, especially on ships that sail in rougher waters. If you're worried about getting seasick, this is the time to be prepared. Make sure you know where the bags are, and if you forgot to pack seasickness meds, head to the medical center or an onboard shop and grab some before you start feeling bad. Also, if you're really struggling, you can go to guest services and ask for green apples or ginger ale. These are known to help with nausea, and many cruise lines provide them for free if you ask. Number 18. Remove unused hangers to avoid annoying noises. One thing you might not expect is that the ship's movement can make your hangers rattle inside the wardrobe. If you're not using all of them, take any extras out and store them under the bed or at the bottom of the closet so they don't shift around. If you need all of them, you can loop a towel or a piece of clothing through them to keep them from sliding back and forth. It seems like a small thing, but nothing is more annoying than lying in bed at night, listening to a constant clinking noise coming from your closet. Number 19. Secure any loose items in your cabin. Speaking of things moving around, remember that cruise ships aren't completely steady. Depending on the sea conditions, you might experience a little rocking motion, and that means anything left loose on a counter or table can slide around. If you've placed sunglasses, a water bottle, or a charging phone near the edge of a table, there's a good chance it might fall if the ship hits a few waves. To avoid this, store smaller items in drawers or shelves and keep important things, like your phone or glasses, on a surface where they won't go flying in the middle of the night. Number 20. Use magnetic hooks to instantly add more storage. Cruise cabins have very little counter space, but did you know the walls are metal? That means you can bring magnetic hooks and stick them anywhere to instantly create more storage. These are perfect for hanging hats, lanyards, bags, or even damp swimsuits. You can also use them to hold up the daily schedule or other important papers so they don't get lost in the mess. If you didn't bring any, check the onboard shop. Some cruise lines actually sell them because they know how useful they are. Before I say the last tip of the video, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. I really appreciate your support. It really helps out my channel and it helps me bring you even more cruise tips and insider secrets. Number 21. Check with guest services for a possible free upgrade. Before you fully settle into your cabin, take a quick trip to guest services and ask one simple question. Are there any free or discounted cabin upgrades available? Now, you might be thinking, would they really just give me an upgrade for free? And the answer is, sometimes, yes. That means if you're one of the first people to ask, you could be bumped up to a better room, for free, or for a very low cost. I actually had a friend who tried this, and guess what? They went from an inside cabin to a balcony, completely free, just because they were the first to ask. The cruise line needed to move some people around, and instead of giving that upgraded room to someone randomly, they gave it to the first person who showed interest. Now, will this work every time? No, but it costs you absolutely nothing to ask, and even if they don't have free upgrades, sometimes they'll offer a heavily discounted paid upgrade that's way cheaper than if you had booked it in advance. So before you get too comfortable in your cabin, swing by guest services and see if there's an opportunity waiting for you. Because you never know. You might just end up spending your cruise in a way better cabin than you originally booked. So now your cabin is set up like a pro. You've checked for problems, claimed every bit of storage, set up your tech, and even taken your shot at a cheeky upgrade. But your cabin is just the start. If you really want to cruise smarter than everyone else on that ship, you need the little tricks that work everywhere on board. In the spa, in the shops, at specialty dining, even on disembarkation day. This next part is all about pro-level cruise hacks that actually make a difference in real life. The habits that save money, avoid germs, protect you from surprise charges, and fix some of the most common mistakes cruisers keep repeating over and over. These are 13 cruise tricks that really work. And there's one in here that almost every cruiser gets wrong. Let's get into it. 13 cruise tricks that really work. Cruise ships are full of hidden secrets, things the crew definitely don't want you to know. Things that could save you money, make your trip smoother, and even make you the smartest cruiser on the ship. But here's the thing. Not every tip you find online is a game changer. Some tips are just, well, meh. But today, I'm sharing 13 cruise tricks that really work. These are the ones I've learned the hard way. And let me tell you, you're going to wish you knew these before your next cruise. And trust me, you won't believe number 9. It's something that literally every cruiser gets wrong. Stick around, because these are the tricks that could just change the way you cruise forever. Tip number 1. Take photos or videos of your cabin upon arrival. When you first step into your cabin, you might be too excited about the view or that fresh ocean breeze. But here's something you need to do before you unpack your bags. Take photos or videos of everything. Why? Well, if there's any existing damage in your room, scratches on the furniture, stains on the carpet, or even marks on the walls, you do not want to be blamed for it when you check out. It's actually more common than you think. Sometimes, these damages are missed during the initial inspection, and if the staff doesn't notice them until later, guess who gets the bill? That's right, you. But if you've taken photos or video, you can prove it was there when you arrived. It's your insurance policy, and believe me, it could save you a lot of frustration and money at the end of your cruise. And here's the best part. If you do spot damage and you let guest services know early, you might just get an upgrade. Seriously, if they've missed something obvious, they could be more than happy to move you to a nicer room to avoid any issues. Who doesn't love a surprise upgrade? So, before you start enjoying your cruise, take those photos or videos. It's one small step that can really save you a headache later. Trust me. Tip number 2. Think twice before tipping the spa. Okay, who loves a good spa day while cruising? I know I do. But here's something you definitely need to know. When it comes to tipping at the spa, you might be double tipping without even realizing it. You see, the spa is a separate company from the cruise line, and they auto-tip you 18% when you're handed the bill. And I get it. You don't really think much about it when you're in vacation mode, until you get the final bill and realize you've tipped again. Here's how it works. When you get your spa service, they don't provide you an itemized bill on the spot, they just hand you the total. So you're thinking, great, I've paid and tipped already. But guess what? That's only the start. When your final bill comes, you'll see the auto gratuity added, and then you'll likely throw in your own tip. That's double the tip you meant to leave. Now, I'm all for rewarding great service, but be aware that this is a classic money sucker if you don't keep an eye out. So next time you're at the spa, ask them to break down the charges. And, if you're planning on tipping extra, be sure you're not double dipping. You'll be amazed how many people don't realize this until it's too late. Tip number 3. Your balcony isn't as private as you think. Ah, the balcony, the perfect spot to unwind and take in the view. You probably think you've got a private slice of the ocean all to yourself, right? Well, think again. Many cruise ships have security cameras around the ship, and yes, that includes your balcony. So, if you've been dancing, sunbathing in your favorite swimsuit, or just lounging around in your bathrobe thinking no one's watching, you might want to think twice. Now, I'm not saying there's someone actively sitting there watching your every move. We're not that creepy. But trust me, someone is always keeping an eye out for safety reasons. And while that dance you did might be fun for you, it's not exactly the best look for the cameras. So keep that in mind before you start getting too comfortable out there. You'll still have plenty of privacy in your cabin, just maybe save the spontaneous dance-offs for the club. You've been warned. Tip number 4. Best cruise deals are found at the end of the cruise. If you're like most cruisers, you probably want to grab the best deal right when you book your cruise, right? Well, what if I told you that the best deals could actually be waiting for you at the end of your cruise? Here's the scoop. As your cruise comes to an end, the ship's crew will often be looking to fill empty cabins for future sailings, and they'll offer deals that are hard to resist. You can find last-minute deals on excursions, onboard activities, and even future cruises at a significant discount. But here's the catch. Don't rush to book everything at the beginning of your cruise. The best time to book is at the end, when the deals are hot, hot, hot. This is a great way to save money on your next trip while you're already on board, getting the full cruise experience. And if you're planning your next cruise while still enjoying the one you're on, take a deep breath and wait for the deals to come in at the end. Just like everything in life, sometimes the best things are worth the wait. But it's not just about booking your next cruise, it's also the best time to shop. Toward the end of the trip, you'll find that many of the cruise ship shops offer big discounts on their merchandise. Sometimes, the same items you've been eyeing all cruise long will be sold for much cheaper prices than at the beginning of the trip. Some cruisers have ended up paying double the price for the same item because they bought it early. So, keep that in mind as you're browsing the shops. If you wait until the end of your cruise, you might snag a better deal and still have money left for some extra treats. Now, a quick word of caution. Cruise ship shops are often not run directly by the cruise lines. They're usually managed by third-party vendors. So, while the discounts might be tempting, be careful if you need a refund or exchange for a faulty item. It's not always the cruise line's responsibility to handle these issues, and the process could be more complicated than you think. Always double-check the return policies before you make that purchase, especially for high-ticket items. If you're enjoying these tips, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more, and leave Cruise for You in the comments if you're ready to sail smarter with these insider tricks. Tip number 5. Check for bed bugs as soon as you enter your cabin. You may not want to think about it, but bed bugs are real, and they've been known to hitch a ride on cruise ships. So, as soon as you enter your cabin, before you throw your stuff everywhere, check the bed. You might be surprised how many horror stories cruise guests share about bed bugs being spotted. Now, don't get freaked out. Just do a quick inspection of your bed and the surrounding areas. Look at the seams of the mattress, the sheets, and especially the corners. You don't need to go full detective mode, but just checking will save you a huge headache. If you spot anything at all, don't hesitate. Call guest services immediately. They'll likely offer you a free upgrade or another room, and let's be honest, that's the least they can do. You're on vacation, and no one wants to deal with that. So take a few extra seconds, inspect your bed, and cruise worry-free. Tip number 6. Put your suitcase under the bed to save space. Let's face it, cruise cabins are tiny, and finding space to unpack can feel like a game of Tetris. But here's a hack you won't find in your cruise brochure. Put your suitcase under the bed. Most cruise ship beds are surprisingly high off the floor, which gives you plenty of room to slide your suitcase under. This can make a world of difference, especially when you're trying to find space for your clothes, toiletries, and souvenirs. And here's the ultimate pro tip. Unpack as soon as you get to your cabin. This way, you're not living out of a suitcase for the entire trip, and you can feel like you've already won half the battle. It's a small win that makes the cruise much more relaxing. Trust me, once you unpack, it feels like you've already checked the boring stuff off your list and can just focus on the fun. Tip number 7. Use the shower clothesline to hang wet items. It's tempting to hang your towels and clothes on your balcony railings to dry after a long day of fun in the sun. But don't do it. You might think it's harmless, but it can actually cost you your balcony rights. There's an incident where an older couple got banned from using their balcony just for hanging towels out there to dry. It sounds ridiculous, right? But it's true. Hanging anything on the balcony can sometimes violate ship policies. So, use the clothesline in the shower instead. Every cabin has one, and it's perfect for drying your swimwear, towels, or any wet clothes. Plus, you won't risk losing your balcony privileges. It's simple, effective, and a much better option than risking a rule violation. Plus, your fellow cruisers will appreciate not having to look at your wet bathing suits hanging in the wind. Tip number 8. Wait until last call to leave the ship. We've all been there. The mad rush to get off the ship on debarkation day. Everyone's racing to the exit, battling through long lines, and most of them haven't even had breakfast yet. But here's a cruise hack that will save you a ton of stress and make the experience way smoother. Wait until the last call to leave the ship. I know. You're probably thinking, but I don't want to miss my flight. Here's the thing. The last call is usually only about an hour and a half after the first people start leaving, and you'll be shocked at how much smaller the line is. People who rush off early end up in long lines, and guess what? No one's getting on their flight any faster than you are. Plus, you've probably already planned to be back at the airport with plenty of time to spare. So why not take advantage of the extra time to enjoy your final moments on the ship? Have a leisurely breakfast, which you totally deserve after a week of buffet madness, and then stroll off the ship like the VIP cruiser you are. Another tip, if your flight is later in the day, consider flying out the next afternoon. You'd be surprised how many people rush to catch an early flight only to end up stuck at the airport for hours. If you can, book that extra night and avoid the chaos of the early morning departures. It'll be so much more relaxing. Tip number 9. The electric key card hack. You know those little key card slots next to your cabin door? They're there to save electricity by automatically turning off the lights when you remove your key card. But here's the catch. Forget your key card in the slot and you're locked out of your cabin. This sounds like a nightmare, right? Imagine you head out for a day of fun, you pull your card out of the slot, and boom, the door automatically locks behind you. Now you've got to trek all the way down to guest services to get a new card and let you back into your room. No one has time for that. But here's a sneaky hack that will save you from that headache. Bring a spare card, or better yet, get creative with a towel clip or lanyard. You can attach it to your card and leave it in the slot. The bright, noticeable clip will make sure you never forget your card again. This way, you don't have to risk getting locked out, and you can keep the lights on without constantly worrying about it. It's a simple hack, but it'll save you from a lot of frustration and wasted time. So go ahead, use a clip, a lanyard, or even a keychain. Whatever works to keep that key card in the slot without the stress. Trust me, you'll thank me later. Tip number 10. the best way to eat at Chops or other specialty restaurants, lunch at sea. If you're a fan of dining at specialty restaurants like Chops Grill on Royal Caribbean, you know those dinners can cost a pretty penny. But here's a game changer you probably didn't know. Lunch at sea is the way to go. Let me break it down. A dinner at Chops can cost $60 or more, but lunch? You're looking at around $25 to $30. That's less than half the price. And the best part? You're still getting the same amazing 8-ounce filet, jumbo shrimp, cocktails, and all the other specialties you love. Now, I know what you're thinking. What's the catch? Well, lunch does have a slightly different menu than dinner. You won't get the massive steak selection, but you can still get the core favorites. You'll pay less, and you'll still enjoy the luxury experience. And here's the real insider trick. In the last 2 years, during Black Friday specials, I've been able to score Chops lunch for as little as $17 to $19, a third of the regular price. So if you're looking to indulge without breaking the bank, make sure you book your specialty meals for lunch. Why pay full price for dinner when you can get the same quality meal during lunch at a fraction of the cost? Tip number 11. Fill out the post-cruise survey honestly. All right, time for a little cruise insider secret. The post-cruise survey is a goldmine for both you and the cruise staff. You probably already know that after your cruise, you'll get that survey asking about your experience. But here's the thing, not just any feedback is helpful. Your honest review, and I mean honest, matters a lot. Here's why. When you fill out the survey, it goes directly back to the manager of the crew member you're mentioning. If you had a great experience with someone, let them know. If you had a not-so-great experience, say that too, but in a constructive way. The survey plays a huge role in whether crew members get promotions or new contracts. Take a moment to snap a picture of your favorite crew member's name tag. It'll make remembering their name and spelling easier when you're filling out the survey. The positive feedback from a guest can seriously boost their chances of getting a promotion or being offered a new contract. You might even help someone advance their career just by taking a few minutes to complete that survey. So, don't just rush through it. Make your feedback count. It's your chance to thank great staff or point out areas that need improvement. Either way, your feedback is valuable and helps improve the cruise experience for everyone. Plus, it's the least you can do after all the amazing service you've gotten. Tip number 12. The ice cream puller is the most disgusting thing on the ship. This one might shock you, but it's a reality that needs to be addressed. Have you ever wondered how cruise ships manage to keep things running smoothly with tons of guests? Well, here's one of the grossest little secrets of ship life, the ice cream puller. You see, those ice cream machines by the buffet, they get touched by literally everyone. Kids, adults, people in a hurry, people who've just come from the pool. And let's be honest, some of them probably didn't wash their hands after using the restroom. I'm not here to ruin your ice cream, but honestly, the ice cream pullers are one of the most germ-infested spots on the entire ship. They're constantly being touched by passengers, some of whom might not even be thinking about hygiene. And to make matters worse, you can't really clean something like that effectively after every use. Now, I know you love a good soft serve cone, but if you're worried about germs, here's a pro tip. Grab a cup instead of an open cone, and use a napkin or tissue to avoid touching the handle of the machine directly. It's a small extra step, but it can save you from a potentially gross situation. After all, vacation is supposed to be relaxing, not a science experiment. So next time you want that sweet treat, be mindful of the ice cream puller. Trust me, it's worth it. Tip number 13. You can order things that aren't on the menu. This might sound too good to be true, but here's an insider tip that's sure to impress your fellow cruisers. You can order things that aren't even on the menu. That's right. Cruise ship chefs have a ton of off-menu items that they don't advertise. If you have a favorite dish or want something special that you didn't see listed, just ask. Whether it's a special request for your dietary needs, a dish from a different restaurant on board, or even a variation of a regular dish, don't be afraid to ask. Here's the catch. Not every request will be granted, but you'd be surprised how much the kitchen is willing to accommodate. For example, if you love a particular entree from a different restaurant, ask your waiter if they can make it for you. Chances are, if it's available, they'll be more than happy to oblige. And don't forget, when it comes to special dietary needs, cruise lines are typically very accommodating. Whether you're vegetarian, gluten-free, or following a different type of diet, let them know ahead of time, and they'll provide options beyond what's listed on the menu. So, next time you're craving something outside the regular cruise fare, Don't be shy to ask for something special. It could be the meal of a lifetime, and it's always worth asking for the extra treat. Why settle for the standard when you can have a customized cruise dining experience? And there you have it, 13 cruise tricks that really work. So by now, you're basically cruising on hard mode. You know how to protect your cabin, save money, outsmart the spa, avoid germs, and even squeeze a little extra value out of the ship without being that passenger. But there's one more trap that catches people before they even get to the fun part. And that's your suitcase. Because in 2025, cruise lines have quietly banned a bunch of things that used to be totally fine. And some of them are so random that normal passengers are getting stopped at security for stuff they had no idea was a problem. We're talking about tech, decor, harmless gadgets, even clothes and snacks that can now get pulled, confiscated, or in some cases, get you in trouble. So in this next part, we're going through 20+ surprising things that cruise lines had to ban in 2025, so you don't end up arguing at the terminal while they unpack your bag like a crime scene. 20+ new surprising things cruise lines in 2025 had to ban. You've packed your bags, you're ready for the cruise of a lifetime. But wait, what if I told you that some of the normal things in your suitcase could actually get you stopped at security, or even banned from the ship entirely? And I'm not talking about obvious stuff like fireworks or flamethrowers. Nope. I'm talking about things like wheelchairs, curtains to split your cabin, live streaming your vacation, and even gaming consoles. Yeah, cruise lines in 2025 have had to crack down hard, banning some of the weirdest, most random, and surprisingly everyday items. So before you end up arguing with security while your suitcase gets torn apart, let's go over 20+ new surprising things cruise lines had to ban in 2025. This list is going to make a few people very cranky, but please still remember, cruising is still fun and totally worth it. Let's get right into it. Number 1. Live streaming restrictions. So you thought you'd be clever and go live on TikTok while sipping cocktails in the theater? Cute idea, until security shows up. Cruise lines now say no live streaming in certain areas, like kids' clubs, theaters, and anywhere near security. Basically, anywhere they don't want you accidentally turning family vacations into your personal Netflix show. Honestly, I get it. No one wants to star in your Instagram live while they're half asleep at the safety drill. And let's be real. Grandma did not sign a release form to be in the background of your 10-minute rant about the buffet running out of shrimp. You can still film your cabin tour or brag about your mojito by the pool. Just don't whip out your phone in a children's play area, unless you like being escorted to guest services for a very awkward conversation. Number 2. Curtains and cabin dividers. Cruise cabins are, let's just say, intimate. Translation: your entire family hears everything. So, some genius thought, hey, I'll just bring a shower curtain and magnets and split the room into sections. DIY privacy wall. Problem solved. Well, not anymore. Carnival saw that trick and said, nope. Curtains, drapes, dividers, all officially banned. Apparently, dangling a flammable shower curtain in the middle of your cabin isn't great for fire safety. Who knew? So, now, instead of enjoying your open-plan studio with a wall, you're back to fighting over the bathroom door when you need privacy. Oh well, at least you'll have bonding time with your family, whether you want it or not. Number 3. Oversized mobility scooters. Mobility scooters are amazing for people who need them. But in 2025, cruise lines finally said, if your scooter looks like a small car, it's not coming on board. Here's the deal. If it can't fit through a standard cabin door, you'll need an accessible stateroom. No exceptions. That means no showing up with the Harley-Davidson of scooters and expecting it to whip down the corridor like it's Fast and Furious, cruise drift. And honestly, fair enough. Some of those things take up half the hallway. People are dodging around like it's Mario Kart. So keep it compact, keep it reasonable, because if your scooter has a bigger turning radius than the ship itself, yeah, it's staying at the port. Before we keep going, I just want to say a huge thank you to all of you. Seriously, I appreciate the support so much. You've all been amazing, and I've really been enjoying making these videos for you. I've actually got a cruise coming up next week, and I'm really looking forward to getting some fresh cruise footage to help take this channel to the next level. Thanks so much for coming along on this journey with me, and let me know in the comments. What's your favorite cruise line? I'd love to hear your picks. Number 4. Smart luggage with built-in batteries. Welcome to the future, where even your suitcase has more tech than your first laptop. But here's the problem. Those smart bags with built-in batteries? Cruise lines now say no thanks. Why? Because apparently, lithium batteries and the middle of the ocean don't mix. Who knew, right? If the battery can't be removed, your suitcase is getting left behind faster than a late passenger at port. So while your luggage can charge your phone, track itself with GPS, and maybe even sing you a lullaby, if the crew can't pop that battery out, it's basically a floating fire hazard. Moral of the story, pack smart, just not too smart. Number 5. Wi-Fi routers and Starlink minis. Look, we all hate cruise ship Wi-Fi. It's expensive, it's slow, and sometimes sending a single photo feels like launching a rocket. So clever cruisers thought, hey, I'll just bring my own router or a mini Starlink and beat the system. Yeah, about that. The cruise lines found out. And now? Totally banned. They claim it interferes with navigational systems. And, okay, fine. I don't want the captain's radar scrambled because someone's trying to binge Netflix in their cabin. But let's be honest, it's also about protecting those $30 a day Wi-Fi packages. So, unless you want your fancy router confiscated, get ready to pay cruise Wi-Fi prices and enjoy buffering like it's 2006. Number 6. Smoking and vaping on balconies. Once upon a time, balcony smokers thought they'd found the perfect loophole. I'm outside, it's fine. Well, not anymore. In 2025, most cruise lines have slammed the door shut. Balcony smoking and vaping equals banned. Why? Because one little spark and suddenly your balcony party becomes a full-blown fire drill. Plus, let's be real. Nobody paid thousands of dollars for their ocean view just to sit outside smelling your bubblegum vape clouds. Break the rule, and you could face fines or worse, be escorted off at the next port. Imagine explaining that to your friends back home. Yeah, I got kicked off my cruise for vaping on the balcony. Not exactly the Instagram story you were hoping to post. Number 7. Bluetooth speakers. Ah yes, the universal party starter. And also, the universal headache. Carnival officially banned Bluetooth speakers, and Royal Caribbean bans them on their private islands too. Because here's the thing, nothing kills the vibe faster than someone blasting their playlist at full volume. Nobody signed up to hear Chad's Ultimate Bro playlist echoing across the pool deck. Cruise lines finally said, enough. So if you need music, use headphones. Or better yet, go find the live band. They're way better than your Spotify shuffle anyway. 8. Door decor controversies. Upside-down pineapples. Ah, cabin door decorations, the unofficial sport of cruising. Some people go all out. Balloons, banners, even magnetic photo collages. It's like Pinterest exploded in the hallway. But cruise lines are cracking down. Norwegian straight up says, no door decor, period. Meanwhile, Carnival's drawn the line at one very specific symbol, the upside-down pineapple. If you're new to cruising, here's the quick lesson. The upside-down pineapple is a not-so-secret code for, let's call it, a very friendly lifestyle. Yep, put that on your door, and suddenly your neighbors might be knocking with more than just a plate of cookies. Carnival said nope, family ships only, and staff now remove them if they're spotted. Imagine being the crew member whose job is pineapple patrol. So yeah, decorate your door with streamers if you want, but if your pineapple's upside down, don't be surprised when it disappears faster than the free pizza at midnight. Number 9. Single-use plastics. Cruise ships already produce enough trash to fill a small island, so in 2025, the push against single-use plastics hit the high seas hard. Gone are the days of tiny shampoo bottles, throwaway plastic cups, and mini water bottles. Instead, you'll find refillable dispensers, paper straws that disintegrate halfway through your margarita, and water stations that make you feel like you're at a marathon. Now, some people love it. Others? Well, let's just say Facebook cruise groups are filled with folks dramatically threatening never to cruise again because they can't get a plastic straw. Calm down, Karen. You'll survive sipping your piña colada through a metal straw. Like it or not, this ban is here to stay. The oceans are cleaner, the fish are happier, and you'll just have to adjust to your cocktail tasting faintly like paper pulp. Cheers. Number 10. Power strips and extension cords. If you've ever stepped into a cruise cabin, you know there are like 2 outlets total, and somehow you're supposed to charge your phone, your partner's phone, your smartwatch, your curling iron, your laptop, and your portable fan with those? Good luck. For years, the trick was to bring a cruise-approved, non-surge power strip. Perfect solution, right? Nope. In 2025, Royal Caribbean decided even those are now banned. Extension cords? Also on the naughty list, unless you get special approval ahead of time. So what's left? Multi-port USB hubs. Yep, you're gonna have to downsize your electrical empire. And sure, the cruise line says it's about fire safety. But let's be real. If you've ever looked behind the check-in desk at guest services and seen that rat's nest of cords, you know fire safety is already hanging on by a thread. Moral of the story? Bring your USB hub, leave the surge strip at home, and prepare for your family to fight over outlets like it's the last slice of pizza. Number 11. Gaming consoles and disabled HDMI ports. Okay gamers, this one hurts. Cruise lines are basically telling you, put down the controller and go outside. On Carnival ships, the HDMI ports on your cabin TV are disabled. That means your Xbox, PlayStation, or Nintendo Switch? Useless. No Mario Kart tournaments in the stateroom, no Fortnite at sea, and even if you try to bring your console, some cruise lines now outright ban them. Look, I get it. The idea of gaming on your balcony while the ocean rolls by sounds pretty epic, but cruise lines want you at trivia, at karaoke, or spending money in the casino. Not hiding in your cabin grinding for loot boxes. Plus, let's be honest, cruise ship Wi-Fi can barely load Facebook. You really think you're going to connect to an online game? Forget it. By the time your match loads, you'll be back in port. So, yeah, unless you're planning to roleplay, angry passenger with no HDMI, leave the console at home and go play shuffleboard like the rest of us. Number 12. Homemade food and perishables. So you thought you'd bake a tray of muffins for the crew, or maybe sneak some grandma's lasagna into your carry-on? Cute idea. But no, cruise lines say absolutely no homemade or perishable food. And it makes sense. There's a reason they don't want your Tupperware casserole going bad in the Caribbean heat and turning your cabin into a crime scene. But every cruise, people try. They show up with cakes, pies, even containers of spaghetti. And then they're shocked, when security says, yeah, we're not letting your meatloaf sail with us. Now, sealed snacks are fine. Chips, candy bars, a bag of M&Ms, all good. But the second your food looks like it came out of your kitchen instead of a factory, security is confiscating it. And no, they don't care if it's your famous banana bread. Sorry, Karen, the only thing famous now is the look on your face when they toss it in the bin. Number 13. Oversized floaties and personal pools. Everyone loves the idea of lounging in a giant unicorn floaty with a cocktail in hand. It looks amazing on Instagram. But here's the problem. Cruise ship pools are about the size of a hotel hot tub. So imagine 10 people all showing up with inflatable flamingos, donuts, and pizza slices. Congratulations. The pool is now 90% rubber, 10% water. Cruise lines banned oversized floaties and personal pools years ago, but in 2025, they've gotten even stricter. Now, it's not just no giant inflatables. Even smaller personal kiddie pools and blow-up loungers are being confiscated. And honestly? Good. Nothing ruins the vibe faster than some guy taking over the whole pool with his 6-foot inflatable duck. Save it for the beach, or better yet, leave it at home. Your fellow passengers will thank you. Number 14. Weapons, pepper spray, and self-defense gear. You'd think this would be obvious, right? Weapons and cruises don't mix. But every year, people still try to bring them on board. Pepper spray, brass knuckles, handcuffs. And no, not the fun kind. Those are banned too. Some folks even think it's fine to pack a taser or a hunting knife because you never know. Yeah, you do know. You're going on a floating hotel, not a post-apocalyptic wasteland. The result? Security confiscates it, or worse, the local port police get involved. I've seen stories of people being detained in Jamaica and Mexico for carrying pepper spray. Not exactly the souvenir you were planning to bring home. So unless your idea of a shore excursion is getting arrested, leave the weapons at home. The scariest thing on your cruise should be the price of a cocktail. Number 15. CBD, gummies and cannabis products. This one trips people up all the time. You live somewhere CBD is legal? Gummies are sold at gas stations? Doesn't matter. On cruise ships, it's strictly banned. Doesn't matter if it's oil, edibles, or that lotion you swear is just for my back pain. If security finds it, you're in trouble. Dogs sniff it out. And in 2025, cruise lines are getting harsher. You can be denied boarding on the spot. People have tried to hide gummies in candy bags. Spoiler: security knows what Skittles look like. Others sneak vape pens, thinking nobody will notice. And when they get caught, they're not just embarrassed, they're sometimes blacklisted from that cruise line forever. Look, I get it. A gummy sounds like a nice way to relax on vacation. But here's the reality. You're not chilling in your cabin. You're chilling in the back of a police car at the port. Big difference. Number 16. Baby monitors. This one has been a total roller coaster. For years, parents swore by baby monitors on cruises. We'll just leave little Timmy asleep in the cabin while we head down to trivia. We'll hear if he cries. Then Royal Caribbean suddenly slapped them on the prohibited list. Parents panicked. Forums lit up with outrage. And then, plot twist, they quietly removed it from the list a few months later. So where does that leave us in 2025? Technically allowed on some lines, but still risky. Many cruises report security seizing them anyway, citing interference with ship systems. And honestly, do you really want the captain's radio garbled because your baby monitor is picking up static from deck 12? The moral? Double-check your cruise line before you pack it. Because while you might think it's just a simple baby monitor, the crew might think it's an unauthorized spy device. And nothing kills a vacation vibe faster than having your diaper bag searched like it's a scene from CSI. Number 17. Reef-harming sunscreen. Here's one a lot of people still don't realize. Your average bottle of sunscreen may actually be illegal in certain cruise ports. Places like Hawaii, Aruba, Bonaire, and parts of Mexico have banned sunscreens that contain chemicals proven to damage coral reefs. Translation: if your sunscreen isn't reef-safe, it could get confiscated. Now, this rule isn't just eco-friendly lip service. Some ports actually check bags and will fine you if you're caught with it. Imagine explaining to your friends, "Yeah, I got fined for smuggling in banana boat SPF 50. Not exactly the pirate story you were hoping to tell. So, do yourself, and the fish, a favor. Pick up reef-safe sunscreen before you sail. Not only will you avoid trouble, you'll also get to brag about saving the planet every time you reapply. The win-win. Number 18. Camouflage clothing. This one shocks people every single time. Wearing camouflage is straight up illegal in certain Caribbean countries. Jamaica, Barbados, even parts of St. Lucia. If you show up in your trendy camo shorts or army print hat, you could actually be fined, or worse, escorted back to the ship. And it's not just a fashion police thing. These countries reserve camo strictly for their military, and they don't find it funny when a tourist struts around looking like they're about to start basic training. Yet every cruise, you'll see some guy in camo cargo shorts insisting, "It's just my outfit, bro," right before local authorities make him change or hand him a ticket. So yeah, leave the camo at home, unless your dream vacation involves explaining to your grandma why you were arrested for pants. Number 19. Walkie-talkies. The old-school way of keeping in touch at sea. Before apps, Wi-Fi, or ship messaging services, families used walkie-talkies. You'd hear, "Breaker, breaker, where are you?" echoing through the hallways. Well, Norwegian Cruise Line has officially banned them, claiming they interfere with ship communications. And honestly, that makes sense. The last thing we need is a walkie static burst coming through while the captain's trying to dock a 150,000-ton ship. But here's the funny part. Plenty of people still bring them. You'll see parents shouting "over and out" at their kids in the buffet line. Meanwhile, crew members are side-eyeing like, "Are you planning to call in an airstrike with that thing?" If you want to communicate, use the ship's app. Or, here's an even better idea. Agree to meet somewhere. Revolutionary, I know. Number 20. Candles, incense, and open flames. This one feels like it should be common sense, but apparently it isn't. People keep trying to pack candles, incense, even little oil burners to make the cabin cozy. Cruise lines say, absolutely not. Anything with an open flame is banned, period. Because here's the reality. Cruise ships are floating fire traps. One tiny spark in a cabin, and suddenly we're all part of a very real Titanic sequel. And yet, every year, security finds candles in people's bags. Like, who wakes up and thinks, you know what this trip needs? A Yankee Candle. The crew doesn't care if it's vanilla-scented or lavender-infused. It's going straight in the bin. Want ambiance? Pack battery-operated tea lights. Or better yet, enjoy the free mood lighting in your cabin. It's romantic enough, trust me. Number 21. Hard liquor and spirits. Ah yes, the ultimate cruise contraband. Forget weapons, forget Wi-Fi routers, nothing gets people sneaky faster than alcohol. Here's the rule. Most cruise lines let you bring 1 bottle of wine or champagne per person on embarkation day. Maybe a small 12-pack of soda if you're lucky. But hard liquor? Spirits? Flasks of vodka disguised as shampoo bottles? Absolutely banned. And yet, cruisers treat smuggling alcohol like it's the Olympics. Every year you see TikToks with hacks, vodka and mouthwash bottles, rum and Capri Sun pouches, even entire fake wine bags sewn into bras. And here's the kicker. The cruise lines are watching those TikToks too. Carnival's brand ambassador John Heald admitted they literally have staff monitoring social media to catch these tricks. Back in the day, if you got caught, they'd just confiscate it and maybe give it back at the end. No harm done. But in 2025, Carnival says if you're caught sneaking booze, you could be banned for life. Yep. Imagine explaining to your friends, yeah, I can never cruise Carnival again because I really needed that handle of Fireball. And look, I get it. Drinks on board are expensive. But is it worth being marched down to the naughty room, having your suitcase searched, and possibly getting your cruise card deactivated? All because you wanted a DIY cocktail kit in your stateroom? No thanks. I'll just take the $9 pina colada and keep my cruising privileges. Thank you very much. So here's your takeaway. Leave the secret flasks and Amazon booze bags at home. Because nothing ruins a vacation faster than watching your ship sail away without you, while you're still standing on the pier with a bottle of Captain Morgan under your arm. And there you have it. Over 20 surprising, weird, and sometimes downright ridiculous things cruise lines had to ban in 2025. From live streaming to scooters the size of SUVs, to pineapples that mean a little more than just tropical fruit, the list keeps getting stranger every year. The big takeaway? Always check your cruise line's prohibited list before you pack. It'll save you the embarrassment of arguing with security over your shower curtain or having your special gummies sniffed out by a beagle in the terminal. If you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And I'd love to know in the comments, what's the weirdest thing you've ever seen someone try to sneak on a cruise? And that's it. If you've made it all the way through, you now know more cruise hacks, cabin tricks, insider secrets, and 2025 rule changes than most passengers ever will. You're walking onto your next sailing prepared for the cabin setup, the onboard traps, the money-saving tricks, the banned item surprises. All of it, most people learn these things the hard way. You didn't. If this mega guide helped you out, tap that like button. It genuinely helps more than you realize. And let me know in the comments. What's one cruise rule, hack, or secret you wish everyone knew? I'd love to read what you've seen out there. And if you want to keep going, because yes, there's always more to learn, the video on your screen right now is packed with even more cruise tips that cruise lines definitely don't talk about. Click it, and I'll meet you over there. Happy cruising!